back to my channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Celeste. Hi, welcome. So today we are going to be talking about the case of Elisa Lam. So I don't know if I said her name right, I'm sorry if I didn't, but that's not just how I'm going to pronounce it. Elisa was originally from Vancouver, Canada, where she grew up with her family, her mom and dad, and they owned a restaurant out there. At the age of 21, she decided she wanted to go on a vacation alone. So she went to San Diego and LA, and she stayed at the Cecil Hotel in LA. And that's a really sketchy hotel. A lot of crazy and scary things actually happened there, including some murders back in the day and all that. And it was really close to Skid Row, which is also a not so great area. So like I said, this hotel was extremely sketchy, and in the past there have been multiple murderers who stayed here. There was even the lady that was killed by the Black Dahlia had just left this place when she was killed. We also had a few cases of people committing suicide, where one man actually jumped off the roof and fell on a pedestrian when he landed and killed both him and this other person. Elisa went on this vacation in January 2013, and her plan was, when she was staying there, to actually share a room with some other people. During the time that she was staying in this room with the other people, there was multiple complaints about her, that she was just acting really weird and there's something really odd about this girl. So after many complaints to the hotel staff, they decided to put her in her own separate room alone. Growing up, Elisa actually had a blog where she would just write about her life and typical teenager things. How she was actually going through this mental illness. She was diagnosed with bipolar early on, and she was taking medication to help with that. So while she was on her trip, she had her medication with her. So she was also diagnosed with depression along with the bipolar disorder, and she took medication for both. And her parents actually said the medication didn't have any side effects for Elisa. She was doing really well with them, and although she did have times of relapsing back into this mental illness and stuff, so she did end up getting better right before her trip, before she left. And while she was out in California, she would constantly call her parents, and they were really happy for her to be out and having a really good time and being happy. So on January 31st, Elisa was actually supposed to check out of the hotel and go, I believe it was Santa Cruz is where she was heading next. However, she failed to call her parents that day, and so they were really worried about her. They ended up calling the Los Angeles police station to figure out what's going on. They didn't know where she was, so this is when they declared Elisa missing. So many of the hotel staff were actually interviewed to see when they last saw Elisa and all this, and many people actually had good things to say about her. They said she was really friendly. Another worker actually saw her buying gifts in the gift shop for her family, so she didn't seem like anything was wrong with her. They all described her as being really happy. So the police were actively searching for Elisa. They brought in search dogs to search her room and search all the public areas in the hotel to see if there was any signs of her. They even went and checked on the roof, and there was absolutely no signs of Elisa. A week went by, and they started handing out flyers of her and saying that she was a missing person, and no word actually came through. So another week went by, and there was still no sign of Elisa. So the police actually released the last known footage of Elisa alive. And this clip is actually really weird. It doesn't make any sense as to what's going on or anything. She's seen getting into the elevator, and everything seems to be fine. In the video, she kind of like leans down and starts pressing all the buttons, which is a little weird, whatever. But then she stands in the corner and waits, and for some reason the door does not close on the elevator, and she's just kind of sitting there waiting. Next thing you know, she pops her head out and looks around like she's looking for somebody, as if somebody's following her. She then begins to hide in the corner and kind of stands there for a minute, and then keeps looking out as if somebody's coming towards her, or she's hiding from somebody. She then exits the elevator and does some weird hand movements, and for some reason the door is still not closing on the elevator. Like, it makes absolutely no sense as to what's going on with that elevator. She almost seems like she's like disoriented, like it doesn't make sense. She begins to press buttons again, but when she goes out, she does like this weird hand movement in the door. I don't know if she's trying to see maybe the door will close soon, so she's putting her hand out in it, but I don't know, it's just a little weird. The door still hasn't closed, so I don't understand what's going on. Like, she's like looking and waiting for somebody. So she finally walks away and the door finally closes, but then it opens up again, closes, opens, and closes. Nobody's in the elevator to press any more buttons, so why does it keep doing this? And she had already walked away and there's nobody else in view of the camera. 18 days later, they still had no sign of Elisa, and guests at the hotel began to complain about their water pressure and the water tasting and looking funny. So the hotel staff went up to the roof to go check what's going on with the water tanks, and that is where they found Elisa Lam's body. She was completely naked and she had drowned in one of the water tanks. So people were drinking this water that had Elisa Lam's body in it for 18 days. Her body was decomposing in this water and people were using it at the hotel to drink out of, to take showers. Like, that's really gross. So they did an autopsy on Elisa Lam's body, and tests came back saying that it was an accidental drowning and it was a cause from her mental illness. And they said there was absolutely no drugs in her system, including the drugs that she took with her bipolar disorder and depression. So she wasn't taking any of those drugs while she was possibly in California, or at least the days leading up to her death. She wasn't taking her medication. But this is when we're going to talk about some theories. It's really weird, as you've seen the video. Why was she acting like that? If she had no drugs in her system, it doesn't make sense. A lot of people suspect that she was on drugs, but that's obviously not the case because the coroner report came back that she was not. So another theory could be that a lot of people thought was paranormal, something paranormal going on. Because especially with what happened at the Cecil Hotel and all of the just crazy bad things that actually occurred there and around the area, it would make sense. But, you know, a lot of people don't believe in the paranormal, so there has to be another explanation. But just the video of her in the elevator just doesn't make sense. She was looking for somebody as if somebody was following her or coming after her, and there was absolutely nobody else in the video. So another theory that a lot of people think is that somebody in the hotel that actually worked there killed her. So this theory actually seems pretty plausible, especially because Elisa was a very small girl. And first off, for her to get onto the roof, some sort of an alarm would have went off. You have to have a key card to get up there. And then the water tanks were on top of this concrete slab that were 8 feet tall. And in order to get up there, you have to have a ladder, and they don't just leave ladders laying around up on the roof. Another weird thing was that the door to get into the water tank is extremely heavy, and it said that with Elisa's size, there was absolutely no way she could have gotten that open by herself. A few days after Elisa had died, it was said that her blog was being updated. I don't find that very weird, especially because you can have like an automated time for when things get posted, which I mean is pretty normal. So I feel like that's not really weird. However, it was said that her phone was nowhere near her body. Like, they don't know where her phone is or anything, and that's kind of weird because I feel like that could have a lot of things going on. Like, you can get some more answers from that. And the last theory that I actually want to talk about is something I've heard somewhere, that she was actually going down to this area to meet a man. And she was hanging out with this guy that she had met. I don't know if it was some sort of dating thing or what. She could have met him online, but I heard that she was going to meet a man there. I don't know if that was the truth or what's going on there, but if it is, he could possibly even be a suspect. So that concludes today's video. I don't know if we'll ever really get the answers of what actually happened to her. It's been 7 years now. There has not ever been any updates except, like I said, possibly this guy, but that could be just something that was said. If you guys did like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and press that subscribe button. I would totally appreciate it. And until next time, bye.